Yo. What's up with everybody, man? It's another episode of What's the Word on the realest motherfucking platform on YouTube, American Cholo. You already know what it is, man. Just bringing y'all another beautiful episode with the dope special guest today in the building. You already know I got my boys right here in the building. My boy Ronnie, my boy Frankie. Ronnie, let them know who we got today, man.
And we got my boy Chineezy in the building today.
That's right.
What's up with it, man?
My boy Youth Offender Prodigy right here.
That's right. I appreciate the invite, my boy.
I appreciate you being here, dog.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, definitely. You already know.
He's the unofficial mayor of El Monte.
Official, unofficial.
Official, unofficial, my boy.
So before we get into everything you got going on, man, I know you got a beautiful story and you got a lot of things that you're involved in.
Yeah.
You know, I had to bring my Angels jersey today just to.
Challenge.
Hey, homie.
Just because it says trout,
Nah,
fool.
hey,
It says
fool,
trout.
look, dog.
You're good, fool. You're good.
Nah, fool, look. Last week, this fool, I know it's spring training. I'm not gonna brag about spring training, dog. I'm not.
The only time you're gonna wear it this season, fool.
Look, fool. Homie last week was like, oh, we're gonna sweep y'all. What was it? 2-1 Angels took that series.
the games that don't matter. Preseason.
Hey, dog.
Preseason,
Hey, homie.
Preseason,
I'm just saying, fool. You were.
No, you're right.
You said you was
Fool,
gonna
that's a
sweep
scrimmage,
us,
fool. It's
dog.
cascarita, way. Come on, dog.
Standing on business. You're right.
Homie said he was gonna sweep us, dog. That's all I'm saying.
Wait, did y'all bet?
Nah.
I should have.
I heard it was like, you said 113, right? 3 point?
I'm like, nah.
He said, nah, fool.
I'm like, man. But yeah, no. We obviously, baseball season is getting off to a start,
Yeah.
you know, and we ended up, sharpening our tools with the Angels, going down there and turning that stadium blue.
Facts.
Usually, right? You have your 80%, Dodger fans, and then 20% Angel fans. So
regular,
regular programming. So, but definitely looking to the Freeway Series this coming, June or July is usually when they play it. So I'm looking for that. I'm looking to see all these guys kind of getting into their groove, but. It was good to see. It's good to see like the team back. Crazy stuff has been going on for the Dodgers.
Fucking Otani's 4.5 million light, homie.
I was about to get into that. Hey, but that Freeway Series, we're betting on that, fool.
Oh, let's do it.
Let's do it.
You heard it. You heard it here.
We're betting
Hey,
on that.
113.
record.
$113, fool. I only gamble money, dog.
All right, fool.
No, but yeah, let's get into that Otani shit, man. I saw his interpreter. Well, that's what they're saying is his interpreter
Allegedly
took 4.5 mil from his bank account to use it for
How?
gambling.
How,
I
fool?
call cap, bro.
I call fucking crazy cap, fool.
I think Otani was gambling.
Fool.
think so?
And
Fool,
that
the league's
hey,
cracking down on it now.
Hey, fool.
He's under investigation.
Hey, Otani was gambling, and his homie fucking took the fucking L for him, dog.
Well, gambling as an
And
angel.
that's
bro.
what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to
Come
do.
on, dog.
How do
He'll
you
take care of him,
How do
G.
you not know that someone took 4.5 mil from?
How do
you,
you
dog?
give someone access to your fucking accounts to take that much money out?
I don't. How do you not notice 4 million, 5 million?
Exactly.
How did
That's
I
what
notice
I'm
that?
saying. So
He got so much money.
Here's my
He's got like
theory.
$1 billion, bro. Of course.
Well, I mean, if he's
Yeah,
a billionaire, then shit.
my theory is, bro, he was gambling,
And he
got caught up. The Dodgers weren't gonna let that slide, so they told the
just paid
interpreter. They probably told the interpreter, "If we're gonna pay you off, dog, take the fucking
Take the L.
hit, dog.
my boy.
They're gonna ship your ass back to Japan, but
We got you.
we got you with the feria. Don't even trip.
For life,
You know,
Damn.
that's what I'm saying. But I from what I've been seeing is they're kind of cracking down on it because they don't really believe it. Otani came out and made a statement that he's never bet on any sports ever.
Oh,
in
he
his
fucking
life.
made a statement.
Yeah, he said that he's never gambled. on
Oh,
any
so now he
sport
might be
ever.
legally liable. Hey, fool.
Well, he
Nah,
came
that's
out and
gonna
said
be-
that
it's
in the
gonna be a tricky
conference.
situation.
But yeah, dog, that was kind of just weird to me. I mean, I don't know how you let that slide. If it's true that he took that feria, but I doubt
Yeah.
it. You know, and Otani, bro, he's the league's baby, dog. Like they're gonna protect,
Yeah,
they're gonna
they
try and
have to,
protect them
fool.
as
They
much as they
have
can.
to.
But
Yeah.
if
It's the
they
golden
do,
child.
yeah, but if they do crack down on it, bro, like they can't. They're gonna have to do.
The young
They're gonna have
prodigy,
to
come on,
punish him somehow.
Yeah, everybody. You know what? Nowadays, you got to pay attention to what you do. Everybody's watching everything, so it's like if you're in a position of success like that, for you to be letting yourself get involved in something like that, that's just stupid.
Yep.
You know, regardless of what the true story is, because at the end of the day, we can only assume. He shouldn't be even be in the news for that. He shouldn't even, and it's like something lacking right there as an individual, But I hope that everything works out, and play ball.
I hope so too.
I think it's just a fine line. Like, who are MLB, NFL, and all these other leagues to say anything when
multi-billion-dollar conglomerates.
When you continue to see them pushing the betting,
yeah,
onto all the consumers, right?
Onto kids now.
Onto kids, onto consumers, right? Like now, I see more betting. I know this is your wheelhouse, right? I see more.
Gambling.
I see, but I see you got to gamble responsibly, though, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
It's a whole. First of all, like they wouldn't allow people to gamble like electronically online, and
it's a big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal.
It was a huge deal like
now
a couple years ago, and now
especially if you're an athlete gambling,
100%.
Like you could be gambling on yourself, and oops.
No, and they take that shit really serious. Even when the Super Bowl was in Vegas, they didn't allow any players to be on the casino floor at all. Even if you weren't sports gambling, you couldn't even play blackjack, you couldn't play roulette, you couldn't be involved in any sense of gambling at all. Like you couldn't be on the casino floor if you were participating in the Super Bowl.
I'm
as an
convinced
NFL
all
player.
sports are all gamble. Like everything's just, everybody's just there for entertainment. But it's a big business.
Oh, it's a huge.
It's not going
business.
nowhere. It's not going nowhere.
It's a huge business, but like Frank said, he's absolutely right. You see more and more promotion of gambling.
Yep.
It's kind of.
It's more predominant now.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to stay away from it or kind of look the other way, bro. Everybody, you see it everywhere now.
Well, they made it easier to gamble, right? They kind of took this whole concept of gambling that a lot of people didn't really understand, over-unders and points and all that shit, right? And they made it now where you can just bet on a fucking player. And it's just like, is he going to make these many points or less, right?
Yeah, and it's the...
They dumbed it the fuck down.
But you have to think about it. You as a player, right? That player, I control it. That's why I feel like there's so much news coming out with athletes being involved with like, rigging a game or like. That's why I stopped kind of like, I lost my faith in sports. Dog. Sports broke my heart when all this started coming out where I'm like.
You're a Raider fan for what?
I'm a Cowboy fan, baby. But for real,
right.
It's been coming out a lot. It's been coming out a lot. And like sports to me are not like, because. I grew up always questioning plays, questioning this, and I feel like now it's more common. I don't know if it's social media or what, but where they're paying attention to the referees, they're paying attention to this, they're paying attention to that. And when I start thinking back, I'm like, man, this has been going on for years, and we just been like kind of like whatever, just going about it. But this is a problem that's been going on, and now it's just starting to become so common with players and athletes and teams being involved in some type of rigging and gambling, and it's just and that's a whole nother ring, and that becomes a whole nother. It's beyond us and our control, So
yeah,
it's scripted.
There's definitely not a secret that there's a lot of involvement.
It's scripted.
There's a lot of. I wouldn't say all of it.
Nah, fuck
I wouldn't say all of it, but there's definitely motherfuckers who sell themselves or sell the team for a bag.
Yeah.
It's like, take that pitch or drop that ball. Miss that free throw, whatever it is, bro. Like
$2-3 million, my boy. I mean,
motherfuckers. Some people don't even get paid that,
True.
So to them, it's a big dub. But the betting has been advertised like crazy. You see it now on like, you see if you watch different YouTubers or whatever it is. I know people. Shout out to homie Duno. He's got a sponsorship with Prize Picks.
Shout out Duno.
Shout out fucking Duno.
And his demographic. It's a lot of youngsters, bro. So they know what they're doing. They know who they're attacking. The Nelk boys, they fucking have a big Prize Picks promotion, bro.
All of them.
Like, all them fools, dog. The viewers are just consuming all that.
Fucking Drake, fucking one of the biggest fucking bettors I've seen online, fool.
Him and Floyd.
He's a fucking cursed better, dog.
Bro, him and Floyd. Have you seen Floyd Mayweather bet, bro?
Nah.
Crazy, bro.
What is he betting, fool?
Full on everything, fool.
Yeah, they bet on everything.
Floyd
Just random shit.
just random $1 million on the second half.
Women's college basketball, dog.
Super
fact.
They know something that we don't. That's what I mean. Like, how you gonna throw $1 million on a bet like that? Something.
Nah, they're just doing it because fucking they're probably addicted to that shit, dog.
Tax write-off
Who
way.
knows? Yeah,
Tax
who knows?
write-off?
To avoid
You lose?
taxes, yeah, I guess.
Come on now.
Ah, okay, that. Yeah.
Lose $1 million, but save 10.
Shoot it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
It's
never know.
it's the truth, right?
Yeah.
Be able to write.
Offset it.
Offset it. Be
Yeah.
able to write
Boy.
that.
Yeah,
Come on.
I lost that. I lost that bet. Let me get 85% of that back.
You know,
You never know, man.
for sure.
You never know. Nowadays, I learned you never know, man.
Yeah, man. But I know fucking for sure we're gonna be making some bets on some boxing matches coming up. At least I know I am.
Just easy money, bro. Easy money right there.
What do we got coming up, Frank?
Man.
Got any more news on these fights that we got coming up?
Man, coming up, bro. Well, this weekend, shout out to the homie Alexis Rocha.
Yes, sir.
Stepping,
Santanero.
Santanero stepping into the ring again, coming back. He's co-headlining the Zurdo Ramirez card here at the YouTube Arena there at the SoFi.
Okay.
So shout out
my
to
boy Barbosa, Arnold Barbosa, fighting next month.
420.
420, baby.
So 420 on the Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney card, we have the homie Arnold Barbosa.
Yep, from the city. Much love for him, man, and I'm happy to see what he's doing, and I'm hoping that he takes it somewhere, because he's a representative of the city, and that's to me is we're very prideful. So to see him get to a place where he has the ability to take things to the next level, I'm just wishing him the best.
Most definitely, man. Shout out to him.
Shout out Arnold. If a lot of people don't know, Arnold is not new on the scene. He's definitely a veteran. Was part of the Top Rank stable for a very long time.
Yep.
Made the jump to Golden Boy recently.
Yep.
And he is the backup just in case Ryan crashes out against Devin. He's 140
which
pounds.
might happen.
Which I'm like,
I see it happening.
I'm like 80% that this fool Ryan's gonna crash out.
So?
Yeah.
Bro, like it's either like the worst marketing tactic I've ever seen in my life,
or the best marketing
or
tactic.
the best marketing tactic I've ever seen in my life. Because the hard part with that is like when you start acting like something you're not, and I know we're gonna get into it later in the conversation. It's hard to continue that, right? Because you're just grabbing at straws, trying to what's the next wild crazy shit that you can say or you can do to capture views, and unauthentically that's unfortunate, not sustainable.
I see that as an addiction too, for people who live in the influencer life,
the spotlight
bubble,
the spotlight.
To be relevant, especially like Ryan Garcia. They do get, once you have like people watching you, and then you're falling off, like I could imagine you live with the pressure of feeling like you have to do something or say something, or just to stay consistent, and who knows, but I hope everything goes good, and we'll see what's up.
Yeah, and that's the thing about him. Like once he got a little bit of taste of the social media
He got caught up
and
in
the
that.
fucking fame,
he got lost
dog,
in that.
it was raps, bro.
I met him before he blew up, and you know what? He seemed like to me like a very humble, very just well-spoken, well-groomed individual. And then next thing you know, he started getting tattoos. He didn't have those tattoos when I met him, and then he started kind of like, I could tell that the influence of the culture and just trying to be cool and whatever whatever it was. Like I said, I just hope that at the end of the day that we see a good fight, regardless of who ends up fighting.
Yeah, hopefully he can.
Some fucking putazos on me.
He can fight that fight and be good, dog. At the end of the day, I'm rooting for him.
Ryan Garcia, man.
I'm gonna go on a limb here. Dr. Mondo left his camp.
Oh, Dr. Mondo. Shout out Dr. Mondo.
And then all of this shit kind of started to happen.
He's a very gifted therapist.
That's my inclination here.
Very gifted therapist.
Never know.
Facts. Shout out Dr. Mondo and the Chico Foundation.
That's right. But what is your prediction? What are you predicting for 420 for the main event? Devin Haney again.
Honestly, at this point, it's like it's not even so much. I don't even get caught up in predictions no more. I'm just waiting for the unpredictable, because I feel like I've been going into these things expecting and then something new, just a curveball happens. So I'm at the point where I'm just like, I just want to see a good fight, regardless of what happens. I don't want to get too caught up in the hype. I just want to see a good fight. I love boxing, and you know what? Like, I feel like recently, boxing's taking a hit because of just a lot of it's taken away from the sport of the athlete aspect of boxing. And like the discipline, the tradition behind it, and it's become more of a like a platform where people go and just or they're performing and they're becoming like something outside of boxing. It's like it's taken away from boxing. You know what I mean? And I don't want young kids grow up watching and thinking that like a Ryan Garcia or like an Arnold Barbosa. And this is why I love my boy Arnold Barbosa, because he don't be on the internet doing all kinds of saying, he don't, but there's young kids watching, and I'm sure that they're interested in boxing. And the last thing I want is for a Ryan Garcia to influence them and believing that that's what they have to do, or start becoming, and like,
or fucking Jake Paul.
Yeah, Jake Paul. And I feel like that's kind of where it happened with Jake Paul. Like, I don't know, but those are things that are out of my control. So I only give minimal attention to it, and then I just go about my business, you know, because I don't control it. At the end of the day, like I said, I just want to see a good fight, and you know, hopefully it's worth, you know, all the hype and everything else that we're talking about, and that's it. You know, at the end of the day, when it's showtime, perform. Give me a good fight. Give me a good fight.
That's
You
what
know,
it's
I
mainly
feel
about is what you go in that ring and what you do. You know,
Yeah,
more than anything.
for sure.
But since we were talking about Ryan, another fight that's coming up is Canelo Mungía, which I know we're all very excited about.
Shout out
but-
Canelo, baby.
Big
yeah,
cinnamon,
but
G,
one
big
thing I
cinnamon.
saw was Canelo and Ryan. They're kind of reconnected, right?
They made up.
They kissed and made up.
They kissed and made up, my G.
How
I
much is
think-
Ryan
I'm
paying
happy to
for?
see that.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
I think Ryan was probably at his best under Eddie.
Yeah.
And being in boxing myself for a very long time and just kind of being behind the scenes, you know, talking to the homies like JR and a bunch of other people and being at all these sparring sessions and seeing a lot of how a lot of these guys move, right? There's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes,
Yeah.
right? That sometimes it's hard, like when you have a sport like boxing where you're literally fighting for your life up there.
Yeah.
You know, more boxers than almost anybody other, you know, other than when it comes to combat sports, right? You have more boxers that pass away on a yearly basis, right? Because, you know, we can get into like all those conversations later, right? But, you know, every time you step into the ring, like you're putting your life on the line. So it takes a certain type of individual to go up there, right? But with that being said, fools are divas, bro. Like it's hard. Sometimes these fools are, you know, it's hard. It's hard because these guys be like thinking they're hard-headed, they're stubborn, they're these young men, right? That have, you're 22, 23, 24 years old, right? And you have the world in front of you. Everybody wants to give you everything, right? And we probably all had a different, you know, you guys are at that age, right? But like individuals who are a little older, like we thought we knew more at that age than we do now.
Yeah.
And understanding that like youth is wasted on the young, right?
Yep.
And having perspective, like, you know, I love to see it, right? Because it means that Ryan understands, like, hey, you know what? Maybe I did fuck up. Maybe I did have a part in that, right? And, you know, Eddie and Canelo are definitely individuals that you want to probably emulate and be like, look, bro, like you're at the top of the top. And whether you like Canelo, you don't like Canelo, you don't respect the fact that he's not going to fight Benavidez, which we got a whole opinion about that. Yeah. But you can't take away from Canelo. Canelo's one of the highest paid athletes in the world, putting it on for
He has a good ass team too. You know?
It's a great team.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I feel like Ryan lacked, and a lot of, you know, we talked about young athletes who get the attention, get the hype. They don't recognize how important it is on the long term to have a good team behind you. You know, and I think that has to do with anything. Whether you're an artist, whether you're you know, an actor, you have to have a good team behind you to support you, who understands the business, who are going to protect your interests, who are going to protect the brand, and at the end of the day, you guys are going to get to the bag, you know. Because if not, if you don't have a good team and you just have people who are just, you know, leeching off you, or just kind of like just being groupies, and no one's really giving, you know, taking no responsibility in your life, like to step up or whatever, then you get lost, you know. And I feel like a lot of these athletes get lost. You know, you're not going to be an athlete making all that money at that young age and wild out unless you have, you know, no team behind you to guide you to you know. And just same thing from the streets, you know. We're in the hood. We have young homies that they're shining, you know. They're all stars in the hood, you know. But they only go as far as the people that support them. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? I feel like that's kind of like a reference to what I'm trying to say, you know. Me having that reference, that experience in the streets, it's like it's very important, and I feel like that's why, you know, we're here. We're a strong team right here, right? So, like this is what you want to be surrounding yourself with, and this is what's gonna get you longevity, you know, in this game, you know. So, yeah,
Most definitely, man. I agree with that 100%. You know, and I mean, shit. Before we get into some more dope topics that we're gonna discuss later, why don't you let the viewers at home know, bro, who may not know a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do, man?
that's right. So my name's Omar Castañeda. You know, I go by Yo Prodigy. I'm an artist. You know, I'm in the beginning stages of putting some music out. You know, one thing about me, I'm also a formerly incarcerated individual, a youth offender. You know, so I spent 15 years in prison. I went in when I was 15, came out when I was 30. You know, and I got involved in the criminal justice reform movement. I met some great people while I was incarcerated. One of them being a producer named Scott Budnick, who really, you know, took me in and allowed me to share my experience and my knowledge in what he was doing, which was establishing a nonprofit organization to help people like myself. And so I gravitated to that. I helped establish a college program in Ironwood before I paroled. I ended up getting out in 2015. I got involved with the program. I was like all in, and the last thing I wanted to do was go back to jail when I got out. So I really committed myself, to doing something different, and he allowed me to just, be involved, and it was something that somebody that coming from where I come from, my background, it wasn't really seen, because I literally paroled from running the yard I was in. So to go from all that to the nonprofit he was trying to establish, shout out to ARC,
transition.
Anti-Recidivism Coalition, they offered me an opportunity, bro, and to just do some good stuff. So in that process, I was able to, work as a youth counselor. I started mentoring kids, younger individuals. I started, just working on criminal justice reform, a lot of policy changes that affected juvenile offenders. One thing about me, I spent 2 years as a law library clerk. So I studied the law. I knew the law. I was familiar with the law. And, so one of the things coming home, I wanted to do was change the laws and how they affected me and how they punished me, because, that was very important to me. So I was able to do that. And I was, at the same time, I got involved with Hollywood, and I started working in NBC Universal. I was an intern for a whole year, so I made a lot of great connects, and I learned the business of entertainment. And it's just a bunch of knowledge and just game that I was soaking up, and I feel like I was being exposed to a lot of stuff that I don't think they realized how much I was soaking up, and they're just exposing me to all kinds of things that I realized that my community lacked or didn't have, and I kind of felt a sense of responsibility to take that information and that knowledge that I was gaining, because I was in these rooms, right, where all these decisions are being made, and I felt some type of responsibility to go back to my community and share knowledge, share the game, like, hey, look, what I'm learning, So, that's how I kind of start connecting with people, networking, and I was very big on a lot of laws that passed, and the criminal justice reform. Like that was one of my biggest highlights. I feel like accomplishments since I got out.
Can first of all, shout out to Chino, shout out Big Dog. Like, I know we talked off air.
15 did 15, bro. He was
Crazy.
15 when he went in.
Yeah.
He did 15 years. So as long as he was alive when he got busted, that's how much time.
Half my adult life was in. So one thing about me, I went straight to prison, and at the time in 2001.
Oof.
And
Your direct file.
Direct file.
Shit, Prop 21.
Prop 21.
Yes.
And I was one of the first youngsters to go into a Tehachapi state prison, a level 4 yard, maximum security 4 yard, and they had a YLP program. And there's only few people, and I actually try to research it. And
Fucking YLP program.
there's actually no information on that program, because honestly, there was a lot of people, young kids committing suicide, and it was a tough place for you to be a kid and be doing some real time. I was there with school shooters, just
level 4 yard is crazy, though.
Yeah.
How old were you?
I was 16 by the time I hit the yard.
What the fuck,
Damn.
dog?
Shit.
Yeah, and
Grown ass men.
yeah, grown ass man, bro. And
That's crazy.
the truth
man.
is that was a privilege for me, because I grew up and was raised amongst men, and that's one of the things that sometimes when I compare myself to other men, I'm like, man, why is this dude not acting right? Why? And it's because I had the privilege to grow up amongst men, and at the same time, I live with the pressure to live up to that standard.
Yep.
Which is,
Yep.
If you're in the military, it's easy to get in line, because you live with the pressure of your lieutenant and your peers, So it's like I kind of felt like that's what prison was for me. That pressure and that standard that was put on you, it kind of made it easy to just program and just kind of like, get in line. And the good thing about it is that, I took that knowledge and I took that wisdom that I gained throughout the years from all the men that I spoke and all the experiences I had, and I was able to build myself up to a man that I feel like I'm proud of. I'm proud of the man that I am, and that's something that I like to share with young individuals who lack self-esteem, who lack confidence in themselves, I'm very big against people who think they got to go to jail or get tattoos to be, respected or like, so like all that, that's why I stopped getting tattoos for a while, because I lost respect for that, It's just little things that I learned throughout my journey they, as a man, as an individual, I learned were more important. You know, so that's eventually what led me to make the decisions I made to be here. You know what I mean? Still be here.
And you said something that was really telling earlier in your conversation where, you know, when you're obviously giving a background of who you are and where you come from and what you did, right? Can you talk a little bit about, which is extraordinary and something amazing that people don't understand how hard it is to get a college program started inside
of a prison.
Can you go in a little deeper on like why that was important and, you know, how, you know, obviously whatever you feel comfortable with, but like why was that important to do that?
All right, so it was a very, very challenging to do for me at the time. When I first started, there was no programs available to me as a youngster. There was nothing, no college, no nothing. I started off in Tehachapi State Prison. I spent 5 years there. I was on the A yard, B yard. I did a shoot term. Eventually, I got transferred to Calapat State Prison. Calapat was very turned up at the time. I got there in 2005, right before the prison riot, the big prison riot. They changed the culture there. I was there for 3 years, and you know it was active. It was active as fuck, and they didn't have college programs or nothing available there for me as a youngster. I've always been the young kid, you know, everywhere I went, and there was nothing for me, you know. So the good thing is that I had good mentors and good men around me that they encouraged me to go to the law library and go seek books out and, you know, or give me, you know. So knowledge for me was constantly, you know, something that for me, not only provided, but was
power,
encouraged.
my boy. It's power.
No, it was encouraged. And in Calapat, that's where I spent 2 years as a law library clerk, you know, and that's where I met my boy Sleeps, you know. And, you know, so you know, that experience for me was like discouraging. That I had to really fight to get some type of knowledge and education. And even when I tried, like, it was getting shut down. It was just, I felt like everything else was just, I had the only option for me to fall back to prison bullshit, you know. So, and if you did college, you know, you weren't looked at like, you know, people frown upon that. They looked at you like, what's up, this cat? You know, or, you know, I'll go to the chapel and they look at you, what's up, this cat? You know what I mean? So it's like, honestly, that pressure of the way people saw me is what for me was like, man, I really believe in this faith. I really believe in this education. I'm going to go out and I'm going to do it. You know, I don't care what none of these older dudes think they are, or what they say or how they see me. You know, so I really pushed that. So by the time I got to Ironwood, a few years before I paroled, I met Scott Budnick. He had been following a lot of young kids from juvenile hall. And it got to the point where at that time, those kids were no longer kids no more. They were already on my yard with me, you know. And someone introduced me. Matter of fact, because I am a SB 260, you know, I qualified for it. Although by the time I benefited from it, I was already done with my time, so it didn't really benefit me.
Just quick little. Yeah. Can you just explain real quick what SB 260 is for?
SB 260 is a law that passed. They allowed lifers or juveniles who were sentenced to life sentence the opportunity to parole. Yep. And, you know,
2012, right?
SB 260, yeah. And then there was SB 261, which I worked on. These are bills that I worked on. Not SB 260, but SB 261. And it just changed the way they treated juveniles in prison, you know. And that's something that for me was very big. And when I got introduced to Scott, well, actually, he pulled me out because I was a benefit of this new law. He pulled me out, got to know me. And, you know, and through the little youngsters that he knew, people were like, you know, they had told him, hey, like, that's the dude to talk to, you know, like, that's the dude, you know. And I was like, man, like, he would come at me and ask me these questions. I'm like, how the fuck is this fool knowing, like, what's up, you know? And so for me, it was just very like, nah, I don't know what you're talking about. And then it got to the point where it's like, when I start seeing some of the dudes that were participating in the college program being victimized or being used as torpedoes on the yard because the dudes that were running the yard, like, they basically saw you as a youngster. If you're doing college program, you weak, you got to go. That's not how I was raised. You know what I'm saying? If you know how to program, I want you on my yard. I want you on the yard. And, you know, so it got to the point where they reached out to me and they're like, Scott asked me, what's up? Can you help me establish this? I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, I try to do it regular. But then it got to the point where I'm like, all right, I have to probably take on these fools. And literally I had to take over the yard. And I did. Took over the yard. I made college program acceptable. You know, everybody. I made all my bloqueros go college program. I did college program because I really knew that this was a benefit. This is just gonna make me a sharper individual. Whether you chose to change your life or still be in the bullshit, it's gonna make you a sharper individual.
Gives you an
know?
option.
Yeah, it's
it gives you an option.
it's like I hate being around ignorant, dumbass individuals. You know what I mean? I can't stand it. So
That's facts.
for me, the college program was a way for me to send people to get some level of common sense to where, you know, we can engage in some real, you know, business or whatever. And it took some time, but I did it. And, you know, and one of my biggest fears was the reason why I took over the yard was because I was doing it like from the sidelines. And then I kept thinking about these young individuals that I was meeting and connecting with, and they reminded me of me, who are 18, 19 years old. And I told myself, I know when I parole, these dudes around the yard that have the yard, they're gonna get rid of them. They're gonna attack them because right now they're being protected because of me. I'm like their their shield, their advocate. But I know once I leave, they're gonna attack them. They're gonna target them. So I kept thinking about different ways of what I could do, and it just got to the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just snatch this up. I was already going home, you know, so I didn't want to get involved in nothing. But I snatched it up. I snatched up the yard and got, you know, switched it up. And I couldn't live with the fact that if I paroled, you know, like all this that I'm fighting for and going against the grain on all this, that the young dudes were going to get punished. So at the end of the day, we were able to establish the college program in Ironwood, which to this day is like the biggest college program in I think in
Everybody's
California.
trying to get there.
Yeah, it's
Everybody's
the
trying to
biggest
get to
college
Ironwood.
program in California, you know, and you know, a lot of the work I did was behind the scenes, you know what I mean? Like, you know, but I did that, and I did that with Scott, you know, and I think after that, he really took a liking to me. He saw that I was serious about change, that I was serious about education. So when I got out, he offered me an opportunity to go and establish the housing program, which is a new housing program that he had just started, and it held lifers who just got out from SB 260, the law we talked about, and it had the other half was a bunch of YA kids, you know, kids coming from YA. So there was a lot of conflict in the housing going on. So when I got there, all that stopped, like boom, you know. So I established the housing program. I was the housing advisor for a little bit. Created the Wolf Pack, you know, and we were going to college, and we just, you know, just programming, bro, like programming, you know, like I had to get at the lifers, and you know, a lot of them knew me from the prison yard, so they were spooked that I got there. They were surprised that I was there. But they all respected what I was sharing with them, and I was just like, look, bro, you guys you ain't nothing right here. Just let the little youngsters do what they do. You guys do what you do. You know, just see it. And it worked out. You know, the college program, now they have three housings, you know, like, you know, so from that, I established the housing program, and I was benefited. I was living there, so I was there for 3 years, which I'm really grateful for because it gave me an opportunity to find myself out here. I went to college. I was at Los Angeles Mission College in Sylmar. I lived in Sylmar. And at the same time, I got an opportunity to work as a youth counselor with the Harold Robinson Foundation. Yep. And I was a counselor. And these are all kids from Compton, Watts, South Central. You know, so it's like, to me, that was like a very big eye-opening experience and opportunity because it literally broke me, bro. Like, first of all, I never saw myself as a youth counselor. And when they actually considered me as a counselor, like, and I worked there, like, bro, my first little session with the kids, I was over there crying. Like, I just never felt the emotions that they were giving me. You know, the kids crying when they're leaving, they didn't want to leave. Like, so all that right there really helped me, bro. And at the same time, I started working with Elizabeth Calvin, and ARC was working on policies.
Shout out fucking Human Rights Watch.
Human Rights Watch, yeah.
Shout out Heidi Rummel.
So I took my law experience that I got in Tehachapi, and, you know, I started working with ARC and Bakilio Ochoa, who was the policy director at the time at ARC. And, you know, he became my mentor, one of my biggest mentors. So I started talking to him about policy and about my experience with the law and what we need to do. And eventually I established the policy department right there at ARC. I was the first policy intern. So I'm like, look, this is what we're going to do. Boom, boom, boom. So I just started getting involved in policy full time. And that was a dope ass experience because I was, you know, that's what I really wanted to do, is change the way they punished kids, you know, and never allow somebody who right now, like, to go through what I went through. You know what I mean? I feel like, you know, like, it's not, you know, I was able to benefit from my experience, but there's a lot of dudes that don't, bro. Yep. They didn't make it, you know, and it's to me, it's a tragedy. You know, it's a tragedy and it's a sadness, and I took that sense of responsibility to my peers, to the younger generation, because I know better, I learned, like, I feel like God blessed me with all this knowledge and wisdom for a reason, and I'm finding myself in an organization that's in a position to change laws. So I just jumped in and I established a college program. We did that. Boom, policy department did that, and you know, I was going to
Prop 57 did that.
Prop 57 did that. I spearhead that. You know, like I was really involved in changing laws. You know, and the messed up thing about it is that when I would go to my hood, nobody respected that, bro. Nobody cared, and that's kind of what, because I lived in Silmar, so I would visit my city every weekend. You know, see my family, and nobody cared. Nobody paid attention that I was a youth counselor. Nobody paid attention that I was changing laws. Like, nobody cared, and that bothered me. You know, that bothered me because, like, the things that they valued and they were looking up to was just, you know, trash, bro. And it was discouraging for me. I was thinking I'm going to get the hood to the city to go, hey, nobody recognized me, bro. If anything, they thought I was went soft, people talking, and I was like, what? And it was like, all right, it is what it is, you know, like, I'm going to still bang it out, and I banged it out. And from the policy work that I did, after that was done and completed, and I felt like I achieved everything I could do from my position, you know, I got connected with an opportunity to work on a film project, and this is my first Hollywood experience, right? I didn't care to do film. I didn't care to be an actor, but they offered me an opportunity to go to a casting, so I went. Boom, boom, boom. It was like, whatever, you know, just told them a little bit about myself. I read through a few lines and whatever. Oh, they emailed me, thank you, but, you know, yeah, we're good. We're good on you. Basically is what they said. We're good on you. All right, cool, whatever. Well, it turns out that the project was a very big project, and the director of that project was Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu, which is the Mexican director of Birdman and The Revenant, and he had saw my little casting, and he was like, "Who's this guy?" And literally in that moment, he called his assistant, told his assistant, "Contact this dude and bring him to the set right now." And when they called me, I'm working in Watts. I'm in Watts in 103rd. I think it was 103rd, or I forgot what school. Malcolm Middle School. I'm working as a counselor, right? I just found out that I can't work there as a counselor because of my criminal background. So I'm like, I'm bummed out. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm about to go change these laws. That I don't know who came up with this law that say I can't, you know. But then he called me, his assistant called me, was like, "Hey, Alejandro saw your reel. He saw your casting tape. He wants to meet you." And I was like, "What?" I thought it was a joke. I wasn't gonna go, but all my coworkers were pumping me up, like, "Hey, go!" I swear to God, I wasn't gonna go, bro. Like, you know where I had to go? I had to take a train. I didn't have a car. I had to take 2 trains all the way to Palmdale or somewhere out there in the desert where they were filming. And you know what? I shout out to all my coworkers at the time because they encouraged me. And I went. And like, I ran through the script. They gave me a script. Boom. They're like, "Look, Alejandro wants to meet you. Here's the script. Try to memorize it." And woo woo. So I'm like, man, I could do this. And I did it. Boom. It was in Spanish too, the script. And I ran it. I memorized it. She put me in, you know, I met him. He's like, "Hey, we're going to go through this." Went through the whole process of reading the script to him. And then little by little, he just started adding more pieces to the script, you know, like actors. And he's like, "All right, look, now I want you to put more action into him. Now I want you, all right, now start walking here." Like, to the point where, all right, we're ready to shoot. And I literally took over a dude's job that day. I didn't realize, a paid actor. I took over his job, his role as a coyote in a project called Carne y Arena, which is a VR installation of the Mexican experience of crossing the border, bro. Like, it's right now, to this day, still traveling around the world. So it's a VR experience where you go in, they put you the VR, and they create this scenario of you being in the desert. And the VR, like, every visual that you see is art acting, you know, like the acting of the people. And so that's where I participated in. I'm the coyote. And the whole point was to bring people closer to that experience of what it felt like in real life, you know, crossing the border. And it was to me, it was a very meaningful and a very eye-opening and inspiring project. And ever since then, just, you know, I've been in contact with Alejandro. He's a good mentor of mine. He's a believer. you know, he really has faith in me, and he's always encouraged me to pursue. So from that project, I ended up going into, you know, acting classes, and I met, you know, Richard Cabral, and I worked on a lot of different things, and to the point where now I co-produced a film, my own feature film with a good director friend of mine named Eric Nazarian, which hasn't came out, called Die Like a Man, and I met you know, from the streets to the set. I don't know if you guys are familiar from Street to the Set, but I linked up with them.
Berenice, right?
Bernice, shout out to Bernice. You know, I met her, and I was just sharing all kinds of knowledge and just things with her of what we could do. And you know what? Because of her and just the team effort, nobody was getting paid, bro. But the director took an opportunity on us to take this script and bring it to life, and we did, and it became a film. So, you know, like, to me, the purpose behind the film and all that was just because I realized that you know, it's a platform, and I'm able to, you know, project a message, a story through storytelling. I'm already a poet. I do poetry, and it just opened my eyes of the opportunity that existed for us to tell our stories in a way that we control, as a writer, as a writer, as a director, as a producer, as an actor, whatever position you play in the production, you play a role in being able to bring a story to life. So, you know, and I realized that in Hollywood, like I said, I worked at NBC Universal for a whole year. I worked in the physical production. That's where all the executives are at. I learned the business, bro. Like, I didn't just stay over there looking cute. I studied it. And I like studied it. And I realized that, like, man, it's a big room for us. And there's nobody that I know really taking charge in that. So, you know, I just start getting involved and trying to do what I can and just trying to bring people to, because I realize there's not enough of us working together. It's not that there's not enough of us. There's just not enough of us working together. So, you know, that's why when I met you, we had that conversation, because I'm trying to promote. I'm trying to, you know, provoke you and inspire you to get involved and do whatever role you see, whatever, like, let's do it. Because I don't see a lot of, like, people trying to support each other, lift each other up, you know, or trying to encourage each other in this industry, you know. Like, we're not in competition, bro. We have our own lane. Like, the sooner people pay attention that together, like, honestly, like, we'll just take control of this lane, the more successful we'll be. You know, like, that's why I don't feel like I got to compete with nobody, bro. Like, I'm in my own lane, I'm doing my own thing. And at the end of the day, I know it's important that I have a good team. You know, this is why I'm here, and this is why the people that I keep around me are with me, bro, because, you know, in that path of trying to, you know, succeed and be, you know, achieve the goals you want and find success, I won't keep it unless I have a good team behind me. So, you know, and here I am, bro. You know what I mean?
Aquí estamos, aquí estamos, homie. What's up, dog?
And you know what? Matter of fact, that's where I met my boy Ronnie.
Man,
when, you know,
what, 2017?
2017.
Orange County Juvenile Hall, man.
2 years after I got
out.
2 years after I got out. Let me show you real quick. 2 years after I got out, dog, they invited me to go to Orange County Juvenile Hall. So I'm like, fuck, Orange County? All right. Went. And I met Ronnie. I met a lot of young ass dudes. And
shout out Underground Grit, though.
Underground Grit allowed the opportunity for me. And when I met Ronnie, I was so impressed by Ronnie because he was so talented. And I'm like, man, my boy's fighting a murder. I'm like, you know, I'm trying to tell these dudes what it is. You know, I'm telling them, like, hey, if you get out of here, bro, like, connect with these people, take advantage, do something different. Like, I come from all that. And you know, a lot of them were like, where you from? You know, they wanted to do a background. They wanted to run a make on me, bro. Like,
run the credentials. Let me see your resume, homie.
And
Where you from?
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, they did, dog. These little young fools were like, hey, yeah, we know who you are now. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, these little dudes are turned up. Like,
Make some phone calls.
They're pretty active, you know what I mean? But they realize that I'm legit and I'm coming with a legit message. I'm not nobody that, like, nah, homie, like, I'm a legit real person.
Not a dropout.
I'm not a dropout, homie. Like, you know, and I noticed that they respected that, and because of that, they gravitated to me. And, you know, I'm happy that, you know, I was able to have the opportunity, because I felt like, you know, I've been able to see Ronnie grow and see what he's done, and it just makes me feel good about my commitment to what I've been doing. Because sometimes I question whether I'm having an impact or not. So when I see people like him around and doing succeeding, It just reminds me, like, you know what? Even when I don't think someone's paying attention, they're paying attention, you know? So I just keep up with that same energy and that same standard, because it's easy to fall off, bro, you know? Like, it's easy to fall off. To hold that standard, it ain't easy. And I ain't perfect, bro, believe me. But at the end of the day, I know that as a man, as an individual, and especially for my community, I step up, you know? I'm going to step up. And when a lot of people don't want to take the responsibility or hold that standard, I will, you know? And it ain't easy, bro, but that's why I keep the people with me. I keep my circle with me, you know, my team with me, you know, and hold me up, you know, because I'm only as strong as the person next to me.
Facts.
You feel me? So I just thank God that we're here, bro. And, you know, we got a lot of things going on, and I'm just looking forward to the future, bro. Straight up.
Hell yeah, dog. You know, it's amazing to hear all the work that you've been able to accomplish, bro. You know, and I want to give you your flowers for that, because it's not easy, bro, for somebody with a background like yourself to be able to be up here and speak about all the things they've been able to accomplish, do community work. But I want to ask one thing, bro, like, how hard was it for you to transition into, like, becoming, like, okay, so you were in the middle of your prison term when you started working with doing different things, right?
Yeah.
Was it hard for you at the moment? Like, were you a little discouraged at times? Did you ever feel like, what are people going to think? Like, might as well just keep doing my thing in here instead of, you know, trying to transition into something else?
Look, I'm going to tell you an experience, bro. They really, like, I was next door. I was in Tehachapi, and I was next door to my homeboys from my neighborhood, two of them, and my roommate was from my neighborhood. And they didn't have, like I said, they didn't have no college. The closest thing to any type of access to anything was church. So I decided to participate in church, bro, because when I was in Tehachapi, I remember I approached the real OG homie from Ontario, from Black Angels, and I asked him, like, hey, I want, like, put me up on game, like, what's up? And he kind of smirked at me, and he's like, if you're serious, go read the Bible. And I thought that he was clowning with me, bro, until he questioned me later on, like a few days later, and was like, hey, where you at? And I honestly lied to him. I told him, oh, I don't have a Bible. And he gave me his personal Bible, bro, to read. And ever since he did that, I felt responsible. Like, I'm like, I got to read this shit now.
Yeah, that's the fucking duty.
And I started studying shit, and I'm like, man, I'm stuck. I don't know what to read. I'm trying to start from the beginning. And so I just cracked this shit open, bro. And there's just certain things they start kind of like speaking to me.
Yep.
And the next time, I needed to have something to you know, to feed him. That's how I looked at it. And you know, and ever since then, like that knowledge and that reading and that became kind of like routine for me, where it's like I started applying myself more and more and more. And I had one of my homeboys at the time in Tehachapi who tried to clown me in front of him. Oh, my little homie, I think he's going Christian, woo, woo, right? And he didn't know that homeboy just, you know, homeboy had the block. The dude that gave me the Bible, he had the block. That's why I approached him, you know, to lace me up. He didn't know that he had gave me the, so when he had said some stupid ass comment, we're like, my homie's going Christian. And that dude got mad, and he got at my homie in a real way. And ever since then, like, I never been discouraged to you know, for whatever people had to say, you know. And when I was in Tehachapi, and like I said, I was with my homeboys and there was nothing there, I decided to go to chapel, and my homies clowning. You know what? Honestly, like, at the end of the day, I told myself, you know, if I am a man of faith and it's being challenged right now, and I allow these motherfuckers to, you know, influence me or discourage me to pursue what it is I believe, I already lost. I'm a coward.
Yep.
And it just encouraged me to step up and go out. Yeah, I'm going to, so what you going to do about it? You know what I mean? Like, for real.
Yeah.
And I flipped the script, like, what you going to do about it? And you know what? Like, I don't want to say this, but, like, to this day, my boy, those dudes that were talking, they're smoked out, drugged out, spaced out. You know what I mean? Like, and I wish they would follow my example, and I wish they would have joined me, because maybe in life today they would be in a different place. Yeah. And this is why, you know, you shouldn't be criticizing or putting nobody down who's trying to do something that is in their best interest, you know, because you know, when I think back now and I look at where they're at and where I'm at, those little decisions and those little things that I those little steps that I took, I think are the reason why I'm here and they're not.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, dog.
That's something I always kind of preach to and, like, talk about, is like, even if you're not a believer or you're not a man of faith, like, if somebody is, bro, and it's helping them be a better person, like, you should never talk down about it or discourage it. No matter how much you might think, like, you know so much about religion and it's not real or whatever the fuck your belief is, bro. But if that dude, if he's just a man of God, bro, and it's helping him live his life better, and he's a better person,
Yep.
it makes him a better person. Like, why you want to talk down about it?
I mean, sure. And I mean, just to like, one, man, just to think back that it's been that many years since we crossed paths, right?
It's been a minute, yeah.
I was a fucking booger when you met me, dog. I was a fucking booger, dog.
He was a little turned up, but he was a very talented. You were very talented. You still are, bro. This is why you are where you are in life. And
yeah. And I mean, hearing you speak, man, it's just like it reaffirms what I'm doing as well, right?
Yeah.
Because you know you're the big homie who sat at the table, but you also made a seat so that I can join that table to be able to speak truth to power, to keep pushing policy, right? To get involved into the work. Because that policy program that you spoke about at ARC, that's the fucking policy program that I came home to.
I know,
right? And that's how I got.
You took it to another.
And
level,
that's how I got involved, and now I'm here, right? I got my own nonprofit, and it never would have happened if that wasn't there, right? And you laid that groundwork. And I think what is important that you touched upon, and that we've had conversations on, man, is being rooted in our culture, right?
Yeah.
Being rooted in our identity and who we are. And what I want to ask you is how were you able to maintain that? How were you able to just ground yourself and stay rooted to that cause, right? Because you speak about the culture, you speak about us as having our own lane, having our own path, right? But we got to be the ones driving the car, right? We can't let nobody else be driving the car.
Yeah.
So for you, what were the factors that helped you just stay true to that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, like one thing you gotta understand is that first thing they did with me when I went to Hatchepee was they made me study culture. You had to study your culture. They gave you Aztec books. They gave you had to study it and you had to know your shit. And I'm glad that they did that because I was completely like I wasn't all about the Aztec. I wasn't all about the culture like that. Like the real deep rooted culture, I wasn't. But that gave me a little foundation to build off of. It made me realize and see myself like and the people that are like just my culture, right? That my raza, like, man, we come from empires, we come from kingdoms, we come from like what? And it just gave me a sense of confidence, of recognizing where I come from and a sense of like worth and contribution, like I feel like, man, this is where I stem from. And then I started getting from that culture, I started my own, started studying like just the Mexican culture and just the history behind that. And just, just the whole, where we're at now as a Mexican. I'm a first generation Mexican American, So
what was it like for you going back to Mexico?
Man, well, let me just say on the white culture for me is important, right? So in prison, like I grew up in prison my adult life, right? My half adult life. And I just, what I knew is the raza, the homies, controlled and dictate the program. We ran the shit, like straight up. I don't care what anybody sees in California. Yeah. The homies run the program. Yeah. So when I paroled and I saw that, like, we don't run shit, it kind of like, I felt something inside me was like, not right.
It didn't feel right, yeah.
It don't feel right. I'm looking around like, hold on.
You're like, this don't make sense.
It don't make sense to me from what I know, what we're capable of. Yeah. What we're capable of.
The power we have.
The power we have.
Yeah.
And I kept telling myself, why in the joint we could organize and structure ourselves to have this level of control and power and influence over our people, and it's all for fucking, not the best interest of us. Fuck peanuts. It's just not in our best interest. Yeah. But we have the ability.
It's not a noble cause.
I grew up with I'm telling you, I participated in that structure of having that level of control and power over dictating the program and how things. So I couldn't understand why out here nobody had stepped up or nobody had already, like, shout outs to the African American community, that they put themselves on and like, but I started studying the culture, the African American culture. I started studying them and what they've been doing in our, like, I feel like we're Chicanos, but I wouldn't know where you put a African American who grew up in the same kind of like, world that we did. But what I saw is that they somehow figured out how to organize themselves and structure themselves out here to run this shit, as far as entertainment, as far as film and everything.
Pop culture.
They created their own lane.
Fashion. Yep.
They created their own lane.
Yep.
And I've always felt to this day I feel uncomfortable, like not us being in a position to where we run our own shit, because we don't. But I also realize that, you know, the more time I spend now, it's like, first of all, the people that could lead don't, because they don't want to deal with the hate. They don't want to deal with they'd rather just go into the, you know, peaceful world, and just because the culture right now, they ain't even evolved enough to really understand when a leader's trying to step up. Because when a leader does step up, they so quick to assassinate them, or someone's quick to sabotage them, you know?
Yeah. Character assassination, all that shit.
All that, bro. And like I said, ain't nobody perfect, bro. But like, I feel like, you know, for me, it was more important to start doing the groundwork. This is why when I went back to my city and started living back in my city, I started tapping in with all my G homies. I started tapping in with dudes from other cities all around me. Like, I wanted to know where the leadership was at.
Yeah.
What I'm saying,
what are we doing, y'all?
I'm coming out from
what
15
are we doing?
years. Yeah, like I'm trying to like hold people accountable. Like, homie, you been out 10 years, dog. Like, what's up? You feel what I'm saying? Like, what's up? What are you doing, dog? Because you ain't got nothing going on and you ain't doing shit. So at the end of the day, dog, like, the fuck away from me, homie. Like, and you know, yeah. I had to go through that experience of just recognizing that, you know, we've been misled. I feel like a lot of it's been misled. You know, we've been corrupted. You know, people just seeked out their own benefit or whatever. You know, there's a lot of, but at the end of the day, I'm like, you know what, I could sit here and be pointing finger. But at the end of the day, I'm like, you know what, let me just step the fuck up. Let me step up in my little world with the little 2, 3, 5, 10 followers I have with me. And let me just focus on them and hope that in me doing that they're going to go over here and they're going over here and they're going to, and I might not see it in my lifetime.
Build that movement. You got to build that movement.
But you know, like, I feel like, man, I'm going to breathe this shit into existence. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna breathe this shit into existence, dog. And when I see you here and I see us here from just conversations we had, it makes me feel good about what I had chosen to do, because I feel like we're making progress, bro. And you know, and at the end of the day, that's all it comes down to, making progress and identifying who the leaders are, and you know, and just keeping up and holding up to that standard, just like if we're on the yard, my boy, you know.
And talking about collective identity, I know that's a conversation that we've had for, you know, multiple times, right? A multitude of times having that conversation about collective identity, right? And that, from our initial conversation when we first met, right, was the one piece that really kind of messed with my mind, like having that perspective of, you know, from being incarcerated and having the organization and coming out and seeing it's a fucking free-for-all, right? Yeah. Because a lot of us feel the same way, right? Where you see it all the time, whether you're, you know, whatever type of Latino you are, right? You know, there is a saying out there que es peor para un mexicano, otro pinche mexicano. Yeah. And there's a reason why that's being said. How do you feel that we could, as a people, right, really become a lot more grounded and rooted and work on that organization?
Nah, and you know what? That's a good question, bro. And honestly, like, my best advice to any Chicano, Mexicano, Latino is to identify yourself to your roots, you know, to the extended roots. Some people are 3rd, 4th generation, dog. So they're not rooted in that Mexican culture or that Salvadorian culture or whatever culture background they come from. They're not rooted in it. So whatever they're built on as far as individuals is been based on whatever they've been knowing for the last 2, 3 generations, which is everything that has been literally like created for them. It's not nothing that's rooted in who they are as a people, you know. And I feel like, you know, he asked the question, how did you feel when you went back to Mexico? When I got out, I went back to Mexico. And I've been going to Mexico as a kid. I'm from Guadalajara, you know. And for what I'm saying, and when I went back as an adult, I was just kind of like, it made you, you know, over there's no blacks, it's all Mexicans. So it's classism over there, you know. So it's based on rich, poor, middle class, you know, like that's Mexico. And to be surrounded by success from a Mexican, to see what success in Mexico looks like, to see what poverty looks like, to see what the middle class looks like, it gave me a sense of kind of like where I position myself out here. You know what I mean? I'm nobody. I ain't rich, you know, but I feel like at the end of the day, I know where I come from, and just having that sense of identity keeps me connected to what's more important. You know what I mean? If you just see yourself based on what you've created for yourself out here, just in your area, Orange County or whatever, you're limited to what you could do, bro. You're limited to what you can contribute to your people. You're limited. You know what I mean? If that's your identity, oh, I'm from this, that's why I like some. I don't really like, oh, I'm from my city. Like, yeah, I'm Mexican, homie. I'm a Mexicano. I'm a Chicano, and that's what I represent before anything else. And before even that, I represent me just as an individual. You know, I'm Omar Castañeda. You know what I mean? That's me, and this is where I come from. This is where I'm rooted. Because anybody and everybody who's took a chance and has contributed to my growth, my success, I feel like I owe them that, you know, and I walk with that, you know what I mean? Like, this is why to this day, like, I hold myself to a standard that I feel like, you know, it would make the people, the elders who spent time and invested in me proud. You know, I took the time to talk to this young chick, man, he's doing this. You know, and I got OGs to this day that I met when I was a kid. They're like, man, homie, like, you know, like, I remember when you like this, and I have to stop and you know, give them their flowers, you know, and be like, hey, man, like, your example taught me shit that I didn't even realize it taught me. Like, I didn't even realize what kind of impact you were having just being around you, just you being you, influenced me in a way where I was able to adopt that and apply that to my life, and that made me even a better motherfucker than you know, that I thought I was, you know? So this is why, like, it's important that we live up to our highest standard and never sit back and you're not gonna step into who you are comfortably without being rooted in who you are and where your people come from, what your family's experiences are from. You know what I mean? So if you're second, third generation Mexican, you gotta go to your grandma, ask your mom, your great grandma, what was it like?
Fucking go to the
What was it
pueblo,
like?
fool.
What was it like? What was it like? And when you start listening to those stories, bro, when you start listening to those journeys, you realize, like, man, for me to just be here, I'm privileged, bro. Just to be born in the USA, I'm privileged.
Right.
I'm privileged, bro. Because I have a freedom and I could exercise that freedom that other people can't. And honestly, like, when I came back, I felt like, man, I felt that freedom, bro. And I felt responsible that I wasn't doing enough. So it just pushed me to do more and more and more. You know, and you know, like, I don't get so caught up in the Chicano culture out here because I feel like it's a little diluted, you know, with wrong messages and just propaganda and you know, everything else that's not really contributing to the culture. But you know, I feel like if anything, they've taken the culture and have, you know, made it marketable. And you know, when you see the young kids, when I see the young kids dressing today in school like they did in the 90s, it tripped me out. But that's just good marketing for those people who are you know, like, who are how can I say it?
They're capitalizing
off of that
Yep.
because they know we have a rich culture, bro.
Yep.
But it's more than just the tattoos. It's more than just the gangbanging and the lowriders. We're way more than that, bro.
more than just the
Way
haircuts,
more.
my boy.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, my boy, for reals. And I feel like there needs to be more businessmen on these platforms who can talk about their experience and being proud where they come from, whether it's from the streets, whether it's from the hood, and whether, like, you come from the hood or not, bro. Like, if they represent where you represent, you should be encouraging and you should be, you know, supportive to anybody trying to step up and do more for the people as a whole, for us as a whole.
And
1,000%.
let me ask you this question before we make a transition, right? The one thing that I see consistently, right, is people really push back against that.
Yeah.
That message, right, where you yourself, you can't make a change. You're just the angry, you know, brown dude. You're the angry fool who's out here.
You're racist.
Yeah, you're out here yelling at people. Things aren't gonna change, right? You know, stop crying. Just shut up and work.
Yep.
Like, you know, keep your mouth shut. Like, we've been taught, like, our whole lives, right? Like, as raza, to be not only proud and hardworking, right, but to kind of, you know, keep quiet when it comes to issues, when it comes to really speaking out, right? How do you feel about what needs to be done to change that? And how do you feel about that sentiment that a lot of individuals out here have?
Well, look, there's a lot of things people could do, but this is what I did. I ended up becoming trauma informed. In the work that I did, I just so happened to stumble across a workshop that had to do with trauma and being trauma informed, right? Yep. And when I started actually taking these classes and actually becoming trauma informed, meaning that I understood what my experience has affected, how it influenced me and my belief systems and my way of thinking, and how that has been tied into my identity, and how my experiences, the bad ones, are how I'm still carrying that pain, and like, when I realized that, when I got the insight on that, I was like, damn. And then I realized there's generational trauma. That means it's no longer about me. I had to pay attention to, you know, a lot of the pain and hurt that I had from my parents, my experience with my parents. I used to have a lot of animosity and anger and, pain, towards them until I understood became trauma informed and I started asking questions and learning their story. I understood where my mom's trauma came from. I understood where my dad's trauma came from. So it made me forgive them and find healing in just their trauma. And I'm blessed to be able to, change that, bro. Because if not, I have a daughter, bro. If I did not have that, education and that insight to trauma and how that affects me in my life and how that affects our people as a culture, my daughter would be inheriting my trauma. So I took responsibility and told myself, I got to change this shit because my daughter's not going to know none of this. She's going to be informed about it, but she's not going to know none of this, because I'm not going to put her through it, and I try my best, to protect her from the trauma that I feel like I still care. We all still care. We're constantly healing, and I'm talking about generational trauma, bro. When you start looking at our people and what we've gone through as a people, we've gone through some shit. We've gone through some shit. Our parents and our grandparents and our ancestors have gone through some shit, bro. And when you start looking at it, it's hard to look at your elders and be mad at them. It's hard to look at your elders and try to and be, with the things that they made you go through, But I feel like just my advice to anybody is just to become trauma informed, and understand whatever you've gone through, whatever anybody has ever put you through. Just try to understand what happens to them or what put them in any situation that they're actually making you even go through that, So, for me, it's just, pay attention to the trauma and do your best to find healing, bro. And I think that's for me as I feel like we're tribal, bro.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm part of this tribe, and it's my duty, my job, bro, to try to find healing for you and whatever healing for him. And I feel like a lot of young dudes right now who are wilding out is because they're suffering from the trauma.
Because they're hurt, my boy.
Inherited trauma, bro.
Hurt people.
Inherited trauma. So as an elder in my village, in my community, it's my job, bro, to create a space where these youngsters can come and deal with that trauma. And if I'm not ready to receive them or create a safe space for them, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to criticize them, I'm going to judge them, and I'm going to shame them for just feeling something that's real, that's really going through them, bro. So it takes for you to apply yourself to really understanding how our past experience have affected us, our thinking, our belief systems. And once you get into that and you enlighten yourself on that, your belief systems change. Your thinking changes.
Your perspective changes.
And you as a person change. Yeah. And you become a healthier person to be around. If you're somebody full of trauma, bro, I don't want nothing. Like, you're a liability to me, bro. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that's what it is.
And what do you think are some ways like a lot of people can deal with healing this trauma?
Honestly, like, for me, my biggest way is just talking about it.
Okay.
For a long time,
narrative therapy, G.
Me and my boys would just talk about shit that we're going through, whether it be relationships, but it wasn't real. It wasn't like we'll have conversations and it would feel good to talk about it, but it would just be there, and it was there was no one facilitating or no one really like guiding that process.
Yeah.
Until I got into a more professional setting with individuals who were my elders, who were able to take these deep conversations and actually enlighten me of hold on and take that and show, like, I was like, oh shit, what? I didn't realize there was more to this. And they start kind of pointing things out and sharing what I'm sharing with you is, but like, there's a process, bro, of healing. A process of healing is a process.
Yeah.
And the first thing is to, forgive, bro. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for feeling the way you do, but at the same time, forgiving the people who have affected you in a way that hasn't allowed you to live up to your full potential, bro, because you're holding back, because you still have something someone said that holds you back. You may have something that someone did that holds you back from being you or free, open you, So I feel like, it just takes it says it takes a village to raise a child. I think that's us right here trying to build and establish a village. And any child coming through this village, guarantee you is going to come out healthier, bro. Because there's a lot of 100%. Villages out there, but they ain't coming out. The kids ain't coming out healthy. You know what I mean? They're coming out tatted up and turned up and thinking they John Gotti and shit, you know. But I feel like that, and that's my responsibility as somebody who's been around, knows better, is to create and establish a village of people who anybody coming through here, anybody I bring,
community, my boy,
is leaving this healthier than what they came in, bro. That's the goal.
Straight fucking gems, man. I hope the viewers out there really soaking this shit up, because you don't get this shit twice.
No, definitely.
Hey, but let's talk about a village that's collapsing. Diddy.
Diddler.
The Diddler.
The Diddler.
What's going on there, man? What the fuck?
It's, bro, I don't know. I think the whole world has heard this story, right? About both his compounds being raided by the FBI.
Yeah. No one got arrested.
Homeland Security.
Yeah,
his son's being put in handcuffs.
Yeah,
him being on the run. But like the big,
he's not on the run though.
The big story, right? There was a lot of different narratives floating out there in the interwebs, right?
The viral clickbait.
But like the biggest narrative behind it is how this man had used his position and his power to take advantage of those that are, obviously vulnerable, right?
Yep.
And talking about protecting children, we're seeing all these documentaries, all the things that are coming out that at one time everybody thought it was conspiracy theories, right? You thought Epstein Island was a conspiracy theory. You thought these pedophile rings were a conspiracy theory.
R. Kelly
You thought R. Kelly was a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Now Diddy, right? And now time and time again, right?
Yeah.
Proof positive that these things are actually happening, right?
Yeah.
Those are fucking weirdos.
And as men, right, as individuals that should be protecting our communities and protecting our villages, right? Like, what is the message that we want to send to the next generation of like being in a position of power? And, with, I don't know, I think it was FDR who said it, right? With great power comes great responsibility.
Facts.
And when it comes to somebody like Diddy, like, you need to have these type of individuals X'd out. Well, however you want to take that.
Yeah.
However it is that you want to take that. Because unfortunately, like that's the portion of the population that children look to us, the grown men and women in their lives, to protect them.
Yeah.
And if we fail them, who is there to protect them?
Fucking nobody, dog.
It's you know what, like when it comes to the Diddy thing, I think like the best thing, the best thing for me that I find myself doing is just understanding what can lead up to having so much power and just influence, because he's not the only one. The R. Kellys, and I feel like
plenty more out there that haven't been outed.
They had a group of people, they had peers around them, bro, that knew what was going on.
Oh,
you know what I mean? And I feel like even now, right now, what that gives us an opportunity right now, before there's a P. Diddy or R. Kelly in our circle, I feel like right now it's our time to pay attention and regulate each other and keep each other sharp and keep each other on our toes, and not ever let somebody think that that's acceptable by practicing silence, by me seeing something you
being
do something
complicit
and just being quiet, bro.
Yeah.
Like, nah, homie, I'm gonna get at you and I'm gonna let you know, because P. Diddy, and like I said, the African American community as a whole have elevated to a level where, they're billionaires, they're making millionaires, and we're not even close to that. We're not even halfway. So for us, it's very important that we study and learn from the mistakes that a lot of the successful people in the minority cultures are going through, bro. So we ourselves don't ever have to find ourselves in those type of shoes, bro. So to me, it's an educational experience and something to be paying attention to amongst my circle of getting into this business and really paying mind to as far as who how do I want to do things and just being protected and protecting yours from those type of things.
1,000%.
And I guess the follow-up question, right, before I give it to everybody, I don't want to take up too much time, but the follow-up question to that is, because you just mentioned something that I know in our communities, right, whether it be like our siblings, our cousins, our family members, people around us, right, like there's this whole cloak of like silence, right, when situations like this happen, right, where people are being taken advantage of. And in a lot of times it's physically, it's sexually, right? You had just mentioned something like that. We talk about all the time offline, right? Where like if you have these type of individuals in your groups and you're not speaking up,
just as guilty, though.
You're just as guilty. If you know individuals who are out there touching on little girls, doing things of that nature that are putting women
abusing their power,
their power, putting women in compromising positions, man. You're just as complicit as them. So from what I got from that conversation that you just mentioned is it's our responsibility as men, as protectors, really to put these individuals out there and do that work, right, and have those conversations and kind of get those people out the circle, right?
Yeah.
And really kind of put those individuals on blast.
Yeah, because P. Diddy, I mean, with everything he's done, it's not no secret. It's new to us. But I guarantee you, amongst his circle, it's something common knowledge. It's been known. But because of his level of success and influence, and people's hunger to be successful, and that right there buys people's silence, bro. Like,
that's the definition of selling your soul, really.
I mean, and when you're in that kind of, maybe that's what they're willing to do, bro. But at the end of the day, like, I don't feel like we have to follow that model of doing things to reach a level of success. I feel like we could do it with integrity, with honor. It may take long, but at the end of the day, if we're all on the same page and we all, are encouraging each other and holding a level of morals and principles and how we want to do things, and once we reach a level of success, we could look around the table and be like proud of the men and the businessmen and the individuals that we are. Because I guarantee you, these dudes don't. They the ones that got all that dirt on them. They probably see. They know. They can't look at each other in the eyes and be proud. Nah.
Hell no.
You know what I mean? So it's like.
And that's the thing. Like, if we do, when you do it with integrity, with moral, with respect, it's gonna take longer. But at the end of the day, dog, you're gonna feel better about yourself. You know, you're gonna know you didn't stoop low. You didn't sell yourself out.
And the truth is, we don't gotta do that. We don't gotta do it.
Hell no.
And the raza popping. We got our culture is thriving.
The culture.
And right now, like, I feel like there's opportunities for anybody who has the courage, the mind, the heart to step up and contribute to do it. And there's a lot of people that you guys that most people don't know about. People don't see. They're not on the internet who are just wanting to encourage people like that to succeed. And there's a lot of resources and a lot of there's a lot of people right here out here who are really trying to see people succeed, bro. But like I said, there's certain things in how you got to play it, bro. And I feel like at the end of the day, just staying true to yourself, bro, and staying true to to what will get you a long way. Even if you don't reach that level of success, bro, like, no matter where you reach, you can walk away and be proud of that person, and not be shamed or not felt guilt because you had to do something or say something or to get there. You know what I mean? And I feel like for me right now, everything I'm seeing in the entertainment business going on, I feel like at the end of the day, like, I want to reach success of that level of success. But if I got to compromise my integrity, if I got to compromise my moral foundation, I'm straight. I'll go out right now and I'll be done right now. And I'll be happy, maybe not reach the level of success that a lot of these people. I'll be happy and proud because to the day I die, forever, my name would always be held at a high standard and that to me is more important because everything that P. Diddy has done, his legacy, it just got destroyed overnight.
Hell yeah.
So his contribution to the culture is what?
Fucking zero.
You know what I'm saying? It just went to the trash, bro. And it's a shame, bro. It's a shame that's happening to people like that who are considered legends in the industry, who are being flushed down the toilet, bro. And I don't want to be those individuals because I don't want 20 years of success just to flush me down the toilet. Nah. I'll take my little 2, 3, whatever. But I'm gonna be on the shelf, bro. You remember me someday. I hope I got a plaque somewhere, and my name's gonna be remembered. P. Diddy should be in that position, but he's not because he chose to go a different route, bro. And and I feel like at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, bro. You can't worship fame. You can't worship fame.
Yeah.
And I feel like right now a lot of young people are worshiping fame by doing all this ignorant stuff, just to get fame. You know what I mean? And I feel like. Nah, don't worship that because that may make you, but it's gonna destroy you, bro. So
it'll destroy you quicker than it makes you.
Yeah, man. So it's like that's one thing that I feel like we gotta guard. We gotta be mindful of. And at the end of the day, everybody's gonna play they're gonna play their role however they want to play, and more power to you. But just remember when that time comes, you heard it here first.
But speaking of morals and respect, man, last topic before we wrap this episode up. Florida. You know, usually you hear Florida and you think
Fuck
about the
yeah,
most wildest
Florida,
shit,
dog.
dog. Like you think like, who the fuck is eating somebody out?
What did
of
Kodak
Florida,
do this time?
Fools are walking around off bath salts and shit.
Fucking fighting
But-
buses, huh?
Nah, man, Florida actually did some cool shit to me. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, it stands on morals. They actually banned
Stand on
social
business.
media
They stand on business.
for minors
Oh, what?
without
That's dope.
without parental consent. Oh no, actually, for the ages of 14 to 16.
14 and under. Yeah.
No,
14 and
13 and under, right?
No, 14 and
banned.
under.
14 and under. So
14 and under is banned. So 15 to 16, you need
Yeah,
parental consent,
yeah.
correct?
14 under is banned.
banned.
It's
That's
banned.
good.
That's
As
what
of-
they should do
Let the
nationwide,
kids go
bro.
play outside. Dog.
January
Let them
20.
go fucking
That's what they
cops
should
and
do.
robbers and
So
tag.
as the start of January 2025, this coming year, right? That
Oh shit.
that goes into effect in Florida.
Oh,
so
wow.
where they're banning, kids 14 and younger from participating in social media,
Fucking Twitter.
and all
Anything.
of them, all of
Any
them,
social
right?
all
media
the bullshit.
platform.
Like all of them, right? And we talked about really like idolizing, fame, right? Clout chasing, which is a disease,
Yeah.
right? That we
Yeah.
continue to say that. Like it's in a world where you have a lot of these young men and women growing up with your phone in your hand, right? And
Yeah.
living in this digital world.
iPad babies, fool.
100%, right? You're an
I seen 'em.
iPad baby.
I seen 'em.
Unlimited
You throwing
resources,
tantrums, bro.
unlimited information.
Unlimited
in your
information,
pocket,
right?
dog.
But
Yeah.
that, and just putting it in layman's terms, right? When I have conversations, because just like you, Omar, right? I really appreciate you mentioning like the fact that, you see me as a good big bro to some of these little homies, right?
Nah, bro, you
And-
hold the standard for sure, my boy.
Charlie.
And but really like speaking about these like young men and women in Florida now, they're gonna have that ban, right? Like when I have these conversations with these youngsters, when we go to these schools and we talk, right? Where like, do you believe everything you see on TV? Do you believe everything you see in the movies? And the number one answer you get from everybody is, of course not.
Yeah.
Of course I don't believe everything I see
Yeah.
TV. I don't believe everything I see in the news. I don't believe everything I see in movies. So why do you believe everything you see in social media?
Yeah. And you know what? I don't think it's so much that whether they believe in it, whether I believe it or not. I realize that sometimes when I entertain something for too long, I'm being influenced by it. So
Yeah.
sometimes I have to check myself and be like, man,
Consumed by it, dog.
let me cut this off. Let me stop this real quick because I find myself being so distracted by
You go down a rabbit hole.
for reals. You do.
All the
And
big booties,
I
huh?
think at the end of the day, it's not so much these youngsters believing into that. They don't know what to believe. Their belief systems are not even built yet. And I think that's the most
Yeah.
important part right now with youngsters. Because like I said, I work with I worked as a youth counselor, and I realized a lot of them lack a solid foundation to build a belief system on.
Sense of self, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's one of probably the biggest gifts God gave me in prison was that I built myself. I built a belief system, bro, that is not penetratable. There's nothing that life could throw at me, and I've gone through some shit that would discourage me, or they would, my belief systems and my faith my foundation is so solid. I had to rebuild gang of times, but my foundation always stood the same. And I think that right now, for me, is the most important thing for a youngster is to establish a foundation for them to feel comfortable enough to build a life on that's proud. And no matter what life throws at them, because life happens, that foundation is always going to be set, and they would always be able to rebuild. And I think that's where we're at with the culture. The culture needs to have a foundation that we could build ourselves on. That we know, it may change, it may be, whatever, but our foundation is set. Once that foundation is set, bro, that's it. Like the rest comes down to the builders. And I feel like that's what, once the foundation is set, next generations are gonna take this building, and remodel it, and you know what I mean. So the culture, that's where it's at, bro. So I'm challenging everybody who claims to be about the culture to be a builder, bro, and add a brick to the shit, and you know what I mean, and like show me, you know what I mean. Don't just start throwing stones to a house that you just don't like, man. Build a foundation, set the foundation, and let's create something that we could be proud of and stand on, and we know that no matter what happens, it'll outlast us, you know what I mean. And that's the challenge, though. That's a big challenge. But I feel like we have to confront a lot of things before we get to that point. But we're close, bro. We're getting close with these podcasts and these conversations, and just the mentorship that I know that you've been providing, and how you influence them, and the conversations they take to younger people, bro. Like that's where it's at. And it may take years for us to see. 7 years ago, bro, I seen him, and I remember dropping all kinds of shit, just trying to get them to understand that this man. And in 7 years, I could look back and see what he's done with his life without me even being in it. He's done it. And I like to think that I contributed to that. You know what I mean? And because I've been in his life, so it's like I feel like right now, if I did that with 7 with him, you know what I mean, when he was already 16, 17, imagine with an 8, 9-year-old. If you're constantly in their lives, bro. So if you have an opportunity to be a coach, to be a mentor, to go do it right now, bro, and trust me, you'll be contributing more to the culture by doing that than being on social media, you know, whatever it is you try to do.
Fake flexing.
You know what I mean? Like go to the school, go to your school, go to your, you know, and share your story or give something, do something, bro, and trust. You'll have an impact because somebody's gonna listen to you and someone's gonna follow you and like
just takes
to
one.
me, that's where I felt like I had the most effects, bro.
And you, Ronnie, and
Just takes one,
DBT, right? Like you guys obviously being younger and the younger generation. Like how does that make you feel? Like how do you feel about like that social media situation? Because I know it plays a lot heavier in your guys' generation than it does our generation, right?
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea of it, bro. Because I mean, I wouldn't say like. I mean, I caught like my teenage years. I caught like, my like kid years really, like up until I was like 11, 12. I didn't really have to deal with that shit. You know, social media wasn't popping like that.
Yeah,
until I was like, till I got like, you know, 8th grade up going to high school. Then that's when, you know, Facebook was cracking. Instagram was starting to become a thing. So then it really started taking people over, you know, motherfuckers were on that shit like crazy.
Yeah.
But, you know, I felt like I was able to enjoy my childhood because I didn't have to deal with none of that shit. Now you see 8, 9-year-old kids who just can't get their fucking face away from
fucking TikTok,
their phones or whatever it is that they're on. You know, that kids got phones at like 8 years old now.
Yeah.
Because it's like their parents are worried for them and if maybe they walk to school or whatever. And I get that. You know, you wanted to be safe about it or whatever. But, you know, I think it's something very, very huge, bro, because you see the things now that you see on social media, bro, and it's a little discouraging sometimes. I mean, me, bro, I'm fucking 24 years old. I hop on social media and I see some shit and it even puts me in a mood sometimes like, damn, that's fucked up. Yeah. You know, I can't imagine what it does to kids who have no sense of reality really, or they can't even really think for themselves too much, and they wake up and see this bullshit. You know, you see all the propaganda. World War III's coming. Like, imagine what that'll do to a kid, bro, mentally. You know, that could put him into like a depression. If it fucks with people, if it fucks with, you know, grown adults in a certain way, imagine them. But that's my take on it, bro. I'm all for it, and I think it's something that, you know, it could be done everywhere else, and it also, you know, helps kids stay away from fucking predators online, bro. You know, there's all types of creepy motherfuckers on the internet, bro. Weird ass motherfuckers. I mean,
just
bro.
all the rabbit holes you can go down, right, on the internet. So I mean, I agree with them passing this law. I think that's dope. The only nuance there is that they won't fucking allow a 14-year-old girl to get an abortion if she's raped in Florida. So that's fucked. And she has to keep the baby.
Florida, though.
Right? So fucking Florida, right? No, I mean, you guys know me, so you know my stance on social media. Obviously took a break. I've been keeping this super minimal because even me as a fucking 26-year-old man now, right? Fucking done here. I'm a grown-ass man now, right? I see how I, too, have been able to succumb to these things, how I fall into these habits, and how time-consuming it can be. And I've said it before, like, yeah, you have children on these fucking platforms who do not have the mental capacity to understand what the fuck they're watching or what the fuck they're seeing or what they're reading, right? And you're talking about depression, you're talking about all these things, right? Like, there's a commonality there with all these problems, right? And I understand that, you know, it starts off as something that's like, oh, they're watching fucking Luke, the Coco Melon, whatever the fight. It starts off as iPad kids, but you're grooming kids to fucking be addicted to a screen, to get the dopamine, all that shit, right? And to me, it's a perfect indicator for why we've lost our sense of community here in America, right? Because we've allowed for these apps and these fucking corporations that fucking harvest our data and make fucking billions of dollars on us being on these platforms to take our most fallible weaknesses and turn us against each other. So good for Florida. I hope the fucking rest of the United States.
But look, I'm gonna just say this: like,
follows suit as well.
At the end of the day, social media, TikTok, Instagram, it's a tool.
It's a marketing tool.
It's a tool for business. At the end of the day, it's a marketing tool. Well, however you want to, it's a tool. Now, when parents start using it for a babysitter, you know, or when we start using it for, like, if you don't got nothing, business, nothing, you just, you know, then you're choosing to take it and use it for something else. And I think we could blame social media all day, you know, but no one's forcing us to get online.
Yep.
So there has to be a sense of responsibility. No one's forcing these kids. If I'm a parent giving my kid a phone and time, then I have to hold myself accountable. You know what I mean, and be responsible to what I'm doing. You know what I mean, and at the end of the day, these are great tools. They made a lot of. Without social media, I probably wouldn't have done a lot of the criminal justice reform, you know, in communicating the policies and information like that. So it's a tool. It's a great tool, but when it's used and abused or misused, then that's something that, like I said, as adults and as individuals, we have to regulate what we allow and what we tolerate and how we use it. You know, so, but it's a great tool. You know, social media is a great
100%.
tool. I don't wanna, you know, delete Instagram from your shit and that's gonna solve. Nah, like learn to use it in a way that's beneficial to you, your family, or whatever. But it's not a place to go get lost in. You know, once you get lost in social media, then your world revolves around social media, likes, and you know, like I know people whose lives revolve around social media, and it's a shame because they live in this delusional reality, you know, and it's kind of like it's sad, bro. But I feel like, you know, it is what it is. You know, it is what it is, and I can have an opinion about it. At the end of the day, if it makes him comfortable and happy going in and getting likes, and that helps him with his anxieties or whatever the fuck he's dealing with, I'm not gonna shame him for it. Hey, more power to you. I just hope that, you know, you find other forms of finding that self, you know, gratification and self, you know, validation instead of having to look at it from strangers online, you know, because that right there is what leads up to creepy shit happening, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, like we're right here using it for our own purpose, right? So it has purpose, you know what I mean?
1,000%.
It's just gotta, I think, just be more. We have to communicate and articulate ourselves more on how responsible we have to be with it.
Be conscious about it. Yep.
100%. But hey, man, appreciate you coming out here.
Shout out
I
Chineezy.
appreciate you guys
Dropping
having me,
all
my
these
boy.
gems for the
Man.
viewers,
My
bro.
boy Ronnie, man.
Really appreciate that. Is there anything
Man, much love, bro. Much
love.
for having me, dog.
anything you want to say to the viewers, bro? Where can they find you at? You know, maybe one last message you want to throw out there.
I have two profiles. I have a IG profile, Youth Offender _Prodigy. That really like highlights the work that I do in my community. And then, like I said, I'm starting to do music. One of the things that I'm working on with my boy Lil Danger from 13 Boys from the Brownside crew. You know, we established a new record label called Double S Empire, and you know, we're surrounded by so many little young homies from the hood. And we just, like, I told man, you know what, let's establish our own record label and give these guys a platform. And you know what, a lot of the guys that be in the hood and we're really gangbanging, we put them in the studio and now they're making music. So, you know, we're just trying to, right now, so that's a yo.prodigy official. That's my Instagram on the music aspect. And we're just trying to do music, bro. And like I said, trying to do our thing. And eventually I'm working on a nonprofit right now and on a website and stuff like that. And my goal is to create a space where individuals can come, young individuals can come and find a platform, or just find you know, whether it be audio, whether it be camera, whether it be music, whether it be writing, whether it be find something that gives them a sense of worth, a sense of validation, instead of having to do things that really don't serve them, you know?
Yeah.
So if I could give you a skill, teach you a skill that, you know, as you develop in that skill, I could hire you maybe with my production company or whatever, then I feel like that's my way of giving back. And you know, so
most definitely.
Yeah, that's where we're at, man. So I appreciate it,
bro.
once again.
Oh, salute to that, man. Ronnie, Frankie, anything y'all want to say before we wrap this up, man?
Nah, man, just gold gems today, bro. Gems.
Let's get it.
A lot of gems today,
That's right.
Ronnie.
Much love, man.
Fucking sound off when you're done, por favor.
Nah, but appreciate everybody who tapped in today, man. All the viewers. I hope everybody had a good time, you know, listening to the homie share his story, his experiences, and drop a lot of fucking gems on y'all today.
Tap in.
This is another episode of What's the Word on
the
American
Word?
Cholo. Make sure y'all tune in next Wednesday, man. We got another dope episode for y'all.
Se la lavan, por
Y'all have
favor.
a good night.
Saludos.